What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Thirsty Thursday. This week's a little bit special. I've kind of stayed away from the guest game for a little while, but pause that music. But you know what? I looked on my calendar and I saw a post a couple of weeks back that it had been a year ago since that I had Merrill Kazanjian from Metal Detecting NYC on. And you know what? I reached out and asked him if he wanted to come back on the annual, and he did. And then I had tornadoes, and we lost our internet, and I had no ways of doing it. So I want to thank everybody for their patience first and foremost, and I want you all to give a nice warm welcome to our guest because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Here's Merrill.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad you're okay, Shane. Glad you're okay.
Dude, so we were on the very south end of that storm, and I could see across the Ohio River into Indiana, and I didn't realize it, but about the halfway point, I was streaming it because I thought it looked really cool. Well, that tornado rolled right by us. I mean, it was less than a half mile away, but we absolutely got nothing. Thankful that everybody's safe. A friend of
Yeah.
mine lost their whole campground. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, it was Mother Nature can be very destructive.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
So let's blow through some of the chat really quick here and say hi to everybody. Papa Rouse, Mr. Bill, Tuesday nights at 9. Mr. Wayne, Expressions of the Outdoors. He will be on Monday Digs coming up. Kevin at Woodland Metal Detecting, welcome. Thank you guys for being here. Mr. Marty Verstal, B. Higgles, Thirsty Thursday with NYC. Yes, sir. And let's see a little faster. Oh, there's Iron Antler Adventures. What's up, James? Oregon family. What's up, Shane? First raider from Brockton's channel. Okay. Sean, the Brockton Magnet Fisher, has had his live stream tonight, and he sent everybody over. So I want to thank you guys for joining. Silver Assassin.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say, Marty and I did a rap together.
Yeah? I did
Yep.
not know that. I mean, I knew
Yep.
you liked to rap, but I didn't know that you got down with Marty. Marty's a good dude, man. There's Mr. Dogstar Blazer. What's up, Carlos?
What's up, Carlos?
He's one of my favorite people. I always chat with him almost about once or twice a week for sure. He always makes me laugh.
Incredible person.
Yeah, that really speaks to your guys' crew up there. There's a lot of really good guys, and I got a little bit about your crew that's up there around you. I know you're all not that close together, but you're pretty dang close. There's a lot of guys I really respect and like.
To get across New York City, it's crazy. Like, you think of it like, okay, it's a city, but to get from one end to another, we're talking like, if there's traffic, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours maybe to get across, as crazy as that sounds. If you take the train, it won't be, that much, but that's another complication. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know where everybody lives, but to organize and then get to one another, you got, how many parks do you have in New York to hunt that you like to dig at?
I haven't been to all of them. That's the thing. It's so vast, and we've got like a crazy amount of acreage of forests. So, we have quite the variety of ecosystems, at least metal detecting ecosystems in New York City.
Yeah, I catch, I watch Jonathan a little bit on his TikToks a lot of times. I don't see him post to YouTube much anymore. And then, of course, Lou and Dogstar, you guys, I see you guys mainly. That's the main group that I watch for the most part. And it just seems like, the city of New York is a giant place, of course, but then I see guys out in the middle of the woods, and it looks like, the rural Indiana where I go hunting all the time. And you're just trying to figure out how can that be in such a metropolis, how there's that much wooded area.
Yeah. It's crazy. It really is crazy. We perhaps take that for granted too, because there is such a variety. Like, maybe with the exception of like goldfields, which I guess the closest thing we would have is people dropping stuff at the beach. We really do have a eclectic mix of places to detect.
What is your favorite type of hunting? Do you prefer the beach?
Beach or farms? I love farms. Oh my goodness. Um, I know that it's changed a bit, with no-till farming, but I just love doing farms.
I wish the farmers would till a little more often. Every time the farm fields that I have to detect get tilled, it always just seems to bring them back to life, and I go back and I find new stuff. Uh,
That's right.
I mean, because you're loosening that ground up and it makes that detector penetrate a little bit deeper. Uh,
Yeah.
Absolutely my favorite form. But the thing of it is that the no-till farming has kind of taken that over. You didn't really do farm fields early on. You primarily was learning in the parks, gutting it out through all the pull tabs, right?
Exactly. That was my training base, going through New York City parks and squeaking out the little pieces of silver that were left. And it's crazy. It still keeps showing up. Um, yeah, but that was my training ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And the two things that I primarily learned before I got you on this time that was going through is that a you moved your website over to Lou, irate metal detectors. So how did
Yep.
so that was because of the deal with Deus? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest, and it was. I can't rate detectors anymore, and the opportunity was too good, and I was honestly also getting sick of it a little bit because you start seeing like similarities. You start out all sorts of curious, um, but then you start really seeing, okay, this is one that you could grow with, or this will be a plateau. You're not going to get any further. And in terms of like what is put into a detector, I mean, especially the sound and the iron, combating iron capabilities of the Deus too. And the Deus one before that, which admittedly I struggled with. Um, it's that's the one that really resonated. I have a video um, about putting down a certain detector. I really can't even mention, but everybody knows what I swung before the detector. If you followed my channel, not everybody knows, but to that point, I had swung really one thing predominantly, but the one that made me put that one down was the Days 2, and I keep growing with it. And the opportunity to work with the team that built it, that became more valuable than continuing to buy detectors. And I learned a lot in the process, but I think it was time to turn the page.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, you know, from a YouTube standpoint, we've watched. I mean, I've watched the evolution of what you've done with your channel, your ability to teach and have fun at the same time. It's really inviting, and it's really probably the main thing that I feel that's grown your audience to a really exponential number. Considering how small the niche really is. Uh,
Thank you.
talk a little bit about Deus. Not so much. I know their equipment is top notch. I can say that because it's very well built. I've played with the Deus 2 underwater with the dive shaft and the bone conducting headphones. Did that last year. That was a blast, by the way. So I know the capabilities are pretty endless. Uh, and what are they like as a company? How did you guys come together to work for them?
It happened when I was on vacation last summer, and I give them a lot of credit for this. I had the antenna break in the middle of my trip to Turks and Caicos, and I wasn't too thrilled with it. They're a company that's always trying to improve, but I wrote them an email, and I said, I'm like, you guys should know you have the best beach detector in the world. And I think just for, I tried to say, like, my situation proved that maybe a wire is a better option. What they did instead was strengthen the wire and, come out with another iteration of it. And I understand their logic right now because ergonomics above all else. and they have a lot of the above all else going on in terms of the capability of the detector, which is ridiculous. But um, if you think about it, if you think about like most important things that will keep you detecting, that will lengthen your day of detecting, the weight, and the balance of the detector. There's configurations that are below 2 pounds, and it's like swinging. It's like being a major leaguer going back to a t-ball bat, but a highly capable one that has proven to me time and again. On the beach, I've gone beyond 20 inches. I've seen the demos, and I've really looked into this, and I have a video due on this. Like if you're talking about farm fields, if you're talking about organic material or mineralization, that's going to zap some of the depth that you could get. But in perfect conditions, you can pull 20 inches with the dais. And who wants to dig past that? I don't know. I mean, you could get the extreme hunter, which will go down like make real craters, go
Yes.
extremely deep.
What was
Um,
the weight of that coil?
um, oh, on the extreme hunter,
Is that the big
um,
one that you tested from
the big
Europe?
one, yeah, the big one. It was actually recommended that you carry it. It's not going to affect the performance if you put it on your shoulder versus if you carry it down here. It's kind of built to carry a little bit lower, but I when I was in France, we pulled a pot. I think it was 12 feet down, if I remember correctly. And we're not talking about a weak signal here. We're talking about a strong signal. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is this is a serious piece of equipment.
Yeah, I think the thing that scares most people away from the Deus is the price point, right? I mean, I know it's a top end machine and it's priced as such for its quality. Uh, and I know you can't really disclose any things about what their future marketing is, but uh, are they in consideration for maybe going for a more of a affordable model? Because I know a lot of people would like to play with one, but not necessarily want to spend that kind of money.
I'll say a few things. One, I couldn't believe their research and development department, and they're completely committed to research and development. Um, there's an artistry that I saw when I was over in France. Um, the I, obsession kind of like makes it sound negative, but to take even slight amounts of weight off, to improve the handling of it, to swing longer into the day. That's incredibly important. Performance is equally important, and their commitment to the way that we are with Made in America, their commitment to Made in France. I get that as an American. I get that. Helping your own country and the economy of it, and pricing things so that they could balance that goal. I have the honey badger scoop, and a lot of people are yelling at me like that's an expensive scoop. Made in America means a lot to me. Um, on another note, a lot of people consider the WS6 version of the Deus 2 to be like a lesser version. The videos that I made on the XP channel, the first two, have been about you get the same thing, but we're talking about $800 for manufacturer's suggested retail price, and I'm still seeing deals where you could get it for $700, and you could always add the remote later if you want. So that's part of what's available right now. I will just say the future is bright, and stay tuned very closely. The future is bright.
Yeah, I think I've always favored Nocta Macro. I love their drive to put out quality machines, and I've made sure that I've gotten very good at using them. I've played with everything else, and it's all good. But the Deus is high on my list of something that if I decide not to buy 6 detectors in a year, I might buy one. I think that's the other part. I tend to buy too many. I've got too many stacked up in my closet. You know,
Which
I
is the
know it.
one that oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was getting ready to say that, you know, I love the Legend. I price point, and for what I've dug with it, it's been a fabulous machine. What does it lack? I mean, I know that you've been high on it before too, but what does it lack in comparison? What is it that it doesn't give you that you get from the Deus? What's a feature on the Deus that you can makes it better than that Legend?
Well, it's got. I can't really talk on other detectors. And my thoughts are still on irate metal detectors. Lou has a quite the task. He's got all of the old detectors that I have, and it's going to be up to him. And I'm just steering, clear away. But really, nothing has changed because you can't just like hand over a site. Okay, write all of the changes. No, he needs time to do that, and he's been going out and he's been detecting, and he's going to do that. But still, as far as I know, it's still my writing that's there. The one in terms of capability that has always been the top is the Deus 2. But you can hear my thoughts on other detectors, going to irate metal detectors, it's still there.
Yeah,
I think iron mitigation is vastly superior. There are different levels of iron mitigation, iron amplitude rejection, IAR. You have the traditional disc. Now they have something that is for accepting or rejecting the magnetic sand at the beach. You have different audios that's there, and really, and this is what I'm learning since I've gotten there. Iron is such a challenge. The video that I've been working on for a few months, it's going to be called Merrill's Iron Dissertation, and it's going to go into, I mean, not only the features that the Deus has, but properties of iron, and how it affects metal detectors. I mean, it's a electromagnetic field, and basically a pulse of energy goes into the dirt, and the receptor coil, and yeah, it reads that signal back, and basically iron can really throw things off, and it's going to be something that's applicable for all detectors. Like if you think about the magnetic fields of the earth, and how that protects us from the sun's rays, think of how that is on a smaller level with metal detectors. So it can really, iron is the number one thing that can throw off signals, and that's the number one thing that you would need to mitigate with the metal detector.
yeah, and the funny thing is that talking about field hunting, you speak of it, and then when I go into field hunting, I don't discriminate anything. I leave everything on because I'm looking for that nail patch. I'm looking for where the old structure was, and then I'm trying to squeak out blips in between the nails. I mean, I think that's the last frontier of finding great targets is finding it with the iron. So I get the point. I just know that it seemed like a huge jump. I mean, just working for Deus. Now you're doing events. I think I saw you did an event for Deus. Is that true?
Yeah, I did. I went to Digstock, and next month I'm going to be going to Florida and Texas. Yeah, Florida and Texas.
So that brings me to the next point. And you're still teaching, correct?
Still teaching.
So when do you sleep?
I don't know. It's-
Probably about 45 minutes from now, you're going to be drooling on the table there, but my friend.
yeah, I got some big choices to make. I've got my son is 2 years away from college, and I myself I worked in charter for a lot of years, and I don't know. Strangely, I'm still a proponent for parents to have choice with schools instead of just one local school. But I did that perhaps a little bit too long, and I'll be fine. It's not going to be too much of a problem. But I probably still the wise thing to do is probably another few years of teaching just pension and stuff like that, and then I could really focus. Um, and it's right along the time. Then again, by that time, my daughter will be getting ready for college. So,
So, yeah,
I'm not scared of work. We work. It's that simple.
yeah, it's the way the metal detecting community works on YouTube via Facebook. Everybody's kind of watched your kids grow up. Through your posting over the years, even through your YouTube channel. What's the boy's ambitions in life? What's he want to do? Just curious.
He's crazy about cars right now, and he doesn't know. And I sure as heck didn't know when I was his age too. But dude has turned himself into a spectacular student, and really we haven't pushed. The only thing that I would say to him is like, if you fail something, you figure it out. You don't get upset about it. You figure it out. Um, he cares. Like, it's a dream come true for a parent. We never got upset, and there was failure, and, you get up, you brush it off, you try again. He's resilient, and I love that. I absolutely love that.
Oh, what a classic trait! That makes you very proud of your kids to see them show that resiliency, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so proud of both of them. And a little sister, she's got the grades right now. She's got her brother to look up to, and, she's got the grades right now. Um, and of course, that's part of the help of her brother being there. These two are fantastic, dream come true. They fight like crazy with each other. I'm an only child, so I'm like learning about this, and my wife's an only child too. So, they've taught us a bit about siblings and stuff. But they're tight. They're very close with each other, and yeah, I'm so proud of
Well,
both of them.
well, her little personality is that of she's got to be the leader of the pack, star of the show. I've noticed over the years.
It's funny you say
She's
that.
yeah,
They go through stages, and right now, although she did me a solid by, she was just in one of the Deus, XP um, shorts, but I don't want to say too cool, but she's like teenager before teenager. She's mature.
yeah. That little girls seem to mature a little bit faster than boys, but it's been one of those things. We've got to watch. Your family kind of evolve. Your wife's got to be doing yeoman's work because your schedule and I think she's a nurse. Is that
Yep,
right?
that's right.
My goodness. I don't know how you make time for all of it. And I work a lot of hours and then I spend a lot of time here. And then of course we spend a lot of time digging and I'm sitting here thinking about it. I did the same thing. My kids were in reverse order. My daughter's the older one and my son was the younger one. But, I made it through high school with them, both of them the same way. And do you ever feel like you miss out?
No. I live a very simple life, to tell you the truth. Family's a big part of it. And they get a lot of time with dad. I'm going on these trips. I'm really excited about it. And because I've spent a lot of time, with them and raising them, it's not like, okay, dad's going and he's like not a part of my life. It's like, okay, that's awesome, dad. People are excited to meet you and they're proud of that. And really, my life is family, teaching, YouTube, metal detecting. The orders change at different times. XP now. Yeah, and I don't know. It's you keep it fresh by trying new things. I went back to being Barry this week. On my Facebook page, I just released a different version of an NXS song, and you just got to keep it fun. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it's nothing but admiration. We
Thank you.
I definitely have enjoyed and taken a lot of things away from some of the stuff that you've done. I really just the part that I applaud is that that you're always in instruction mode, and I guess being a teacher is just since that's in your blood, that's what you're going to do the whole way through and it makes it a lot of fun to watch. And there's a lot of people that are normally in here, and you are a topic of conversation as one of the cornerstones of what this community is.
Oh,
5 years
really?
ago, do you really 5 years ago would you have thought that that's how it was going to end up? Would you have thought that everybody was going to kind of look to you for being somebody valued in the community? Did you think that would happen?
I just do what my Rice Krispies tell me to do. I just I'm honored you say that. I really am, and I don't I didn't even think about it like that. Like I think about it like, okay, this is a story I want to tell, and if I'm excited about telling a story, you have a better chance of making other people excited to hear about it. And that's why I keep going through like these crazy stages with the development of my channel. And I know it goes against what YouTube suggests and all that. And, like stick to your niche and like don't, it kind of forces you into your niche, but it's a marathon and I enjoy this. And, yeah, what keeps it interesting is the changes that happen and the questions. And, you were asking before about the transition to XP. I could ask the Wizards of Oz, like, how it really is instead of speculating. Like, when I did videos before and I got in trouble with a certain company, um, for speculating on something, and, now I could get the answers, like, they're so generous with that. I've been exchanging emails, and I've been learning a ton.
So, how many hours a week are you putting in for XP? Just curious.
Probably about 20.
So it's a solid half a work week for sure then.
Yeah. Yeah, solid half a work week. Yeah, maybe
And
not 20. Some weeks more than the other, but I'd say average 20. Yeah.
how much are you digging these days?
It's been less, but it's because there's a learning curve that goes into that. Now, I idolize Gary. Gary's amazing, and you should have seen it. It was like a kid in the 1960s when they saw the Beatles. When I saw Gary, I was like, "It's Gary!" Um, Great dude. And some people, when you meet them, it's a disappointment. No way. This dude is awesome. And he's been with XP for more than 10 years now, and he's been in the development of products. Now, I've got a pretty good worldview, being that I've swung so many detectors, being that I've swung in New York, which really has so many different settings where you could detect. But in terms of like the mastery of the product, I've had to work and I'm continuing, to work. I want to know every bit as much, as he does. And, that's going to take a lot of time, and a lot of commitment. And I'm going to continue with that.
Yeah,
And I've been
that's
open
really
about that. That's the other thing. I always try to be honest. And, that's the truth right now. I'm in study mode.
yeah. So are you gonna be on the forefront of research and development? Are you gonna be testing? Is that gonna be
Yes.
part of your main goal for them?
As
And
soon as there is new products coming out, I am one of the first to get. I'm the first to get it, and I'm going to be helping develop that too. And being New York bottle capville, I hate to say that, but it's true. We just have like all sorts of stuff buried everywhere. Being that we have beaches, being that we have forests, um, being that we're close enough to farms, you get all these settings, and it's a good. I think it's been a good pairing. Yeah.
yeah, I think that would make me just to know that I was on the test market and I get to see something from, let's just say, probably from the premier company out there. You're going to get first test rights to something brand new. I think that would be initiative enough to want to be there. I think it's really cool. So you think you're going to teach a few more years when you get your pension in order, and then is that going to make you more full time towards days? Is that what your goal is?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I really, really enjoy the team over there, and yeah, I've made friends, and yeah, I like the way that they work. Also, I mean, they care very much about people's lives. It's a 4-day work week, and everybody in the company metal detects and is passionate about it. Um, it was really inspiring, and they went out of their way to make me feel welcome. They flew Gary down, and I shared an apartment with him when I was in France, and it's like it's Gary. Because I'm telling you out, when I had my art channel, when I was doing my art channel, all I would watch was metal detecting videos. And, Gary's metal detecting videos were there. So it's like meeting and working with somebody that you really look up to. It's been incredible.
I don't know that this really applies, but one of the guys in the chat asked something about usable metal detectors for use in wheelchairs. Have you? I mean, I don't know of anything particular for that. Have you ever heard of a metal detector that's usable in a wheelchair or for somebody that's handicapped like that?
It's a great question. And it's an
Yeah, that
important question. Um, I know that the swing would be complicated because the wheelchair, if there's metal in it, and there almost always is, I mean, there always is, as far as I know, that would complicate it. There would have to be, um, there'd have to be some serious modifications to it. It would have to go out in a way. The digging, somebody was telling me something about somebody who does it in wheelchairs. Um, That's an important question. Whenever I don't know the answer, I say I don't know. I have not heard anything, but I hope to hear something
yeah, I
because
was sitting there.
I love that thought. Yeah.
I read it and I was sitting there thinking it's going to have some kind of an arm that gets it away from the chair far enough to get away from that field, and then locate pinpoint. It would be, but I think that we've talked about it in here before. I know that we do have some people that are handicapped that magnet fish quite a bit, and that's kind of a challenge as well. But metal detecting should be for all. Finding a way to do that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you,
Yeah.
Stickman. I appreciate the question. Now, so this year you say you're doing events, so you're running a booth like at these events. Is that what your next goal is for the next? You said you're going to Florida. What's the event down there?
Uh, oh my goodness, I'm blanking. Um, I'll think of it. Um,
I know I know
it's
they
it's
just did the Florida Hunt 13 or 15 or whatever it was recently, so it's not that one. That's the only one that I know of down there.
That's the thing. So I never really tuned into these events. Like, I had heard of Digstock, um, Pound the Ground, which I think was the same thing. I think they merged. Um,
Hard to
uh,
say.
I just went to my first event, and it was really awesome. I had so much fun at Digstock. Um, I got to meet people that like watched my videos and listen, man. I'm a teacher at heart, and I mean, it's nice. It happens like once a decade when you get a student coming back like, "You changed my life, man. You changed my life." If you're lucky, you get that. But I got to meet people who were like, "I love your videos. I look forward to your videos." And it was just like constant positive reinforcement. And I had fun. Yeah, I got to participate in the event. Um, so my point is, I'm tuning into the event circuit right now because I'm here to represent XP in the United States and globally when they need it.
Man, that I can't get over how cool that is. It just seems like that, for a detectorist, that is, just to be on the inside of research development and get to play with new toys all the time. That really speaks to guys in general.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
tell everybody a little bit about who you get to detect with these days. Who are you swinging with the most, and when and where are you? What are you doing?
My buddy Jeff, who he lives like less than like 2 miles away, and great friend. And whenever our schedules line up, that's probably who I see the most. Lou lives in another borough of New York City, um, and I see him occasionally. Carlos, who is in the chat, Dogstar Blazer, that's my boy right there. We detect, and we're due for another one. Yeah, I'd say I have been out maybe about 8 to 10 times this year, and that is a lot less than previously because I'm just studying,
So
testing. I've got my yard, and I've got the manual, and really most of the studying happens over email, um, from everybody from like the founder of the company, um, Alain Loubet, to the engineers. I would say that I've easily hundreds, if not thousands, of emails that have gone back and forth, and I've been asking a lot of questions. Gary is involved. I get emails and calls from him all the time, just continuing to learn. And, it's one thing to like study it and know it. It's another thing to know it cold. And that's what I'm working on. And I'm almost there.
is there uh, is there any stipulations for your YouTube channel in correspondence with XP? Is there things that they don't want you to do on the channel, or do they kind of let you kind of keep your freedom?
Well, they told me that they want me to be me. And, I really appreciated that. They said that they loved my videos and they want me to be me. I can't swing any other detectors, and I'm absolutely fine with that. I got to, it's like marriage, and that's cool. I like that. Um, it's the one. It's the one.
You
It
can.
really was the detector that resonated with me, and people can tell when people are not serious. This was my favorite detector. There's no question about it. And think of how differently they do it. Everybody else has the same formula, and you get something that's wildly different. And I really appreciate that, about XP. And I mean, really, they've changed the game, with how detectors work in terms of like updating them remotely. Who did that first? Um, they're groundbreaking, and they are just getting started. Let's just put it that way. You'll see. Yeah.
That's a in a field of equipment that feels like the last 15 years development has been very high on most metal detectors. We went from one stage to, and I know the multi frequency thing, that it's debatable on how awesome it really is. Sometimes I find myself back playing at 10 kilohertz and happier there for obvious reasons. Uh, as far as like going forward with your videos, what have you said you've been working on one for a couple months? A little bit about YouTube, a little bit about where that's headed this year that we haven't seen before. How many videos do you think you're going to do this year? Or are you going to keep putting out the numbers like you usually do, or is that slowing down too?
Um, I'm kind of at an interesting stage right now. Um, when there's other stuff to do, I tend to do it, and now I feel the need to like really master, like every aspect of the dais too. Like, have you heard of the Go Terrain app?
No.
So it's a GPS, that works with your phone, and it does, next level what some detectors have done with GPSs. And right now, that's my focus for this week, to like really get to know that, um, because it's just another dimension. So you think about this: you're on a beach, and beaches are very disorienting because they have tides that go in, come out, and you could really see your path compared to where the tides are. Because you can't always tell. Like when the tides are going in and out, you have the times, even on websites, that it could be a little bit off. And you could see, I guess, if you see your tracks in the water, that, the tides have kind of gone in. You could map out where you find stuff, and you could like kind of like create a heat map. Um, and it's like $15 a year, and
Oh,
it's just
really?
it's meant to be a cost that's just swallowed by XP, as like a bonus for anybody who owns the dais. And it's a very different way of doing things, from putting all of the brains into the coil to having a phone add-on. The pinpointer I just absolutely love too. How it syncs and how you can adjust it right from either the WS6 or the remote. And um, they've thought of everything. They really have. Um, and I just keep learning new layers of things. There's so much thought that goes into these. But
So do you
I'm sorry to go off on the tangent. You were asking about me. I'm in research mode right now. I'm okay with slowing things down temporarily. I look at metal detecting NYC as a lifelong project. It's something that I want to do. It's something that I do. And just like in life, there's things that speed up and slow down. That's the channel. I plan on being around. Um, Maybe not just on YouTube, like maybe other, platforms too. Um, I plan to just like keep posting content. I'm excited about um, posting content and metal detecting, and um, I've got a lot to say. And I'm one of the people who breaks the news for XP when it happens.
Yeah, so that gives you a nice head up on the world there because you do get to do that for XP. You know, the change. So, you go from swinging everything and testing everything to just focusing in on this day as two primarily, I would assume. Uh, do you think, and I know this question's a little weighted, but do you think just primarily focusing on one detector, all the nuances of that one detector, has made you a better detectorist, and why?
Yeah, I mean, what they say, what anybody says about a jack of all trades, master of none. And I would always think that, when I swung all of these detectors and I wanted to do it justice, with iratemetaldetectors.com, and I tried to. But it's impossible to keep all of that in your brain at once. You could only do your best. And, I knew, I think it's very telling. I mean, the conversations with XP happened late September, October. You could see what I was choosing to swing before that. I was in the direction of Deus. Well, which one did I bring on vacation? I brought, to Turks and Caicos. It was the Deus too. Um, Really mastering it it takes time. It definitely takes time because there's so many dimensions to it. Um, but if you think about it, that's the type of detector that you want because you got to think in terms of ceilings and think in terms of like stuff that you're going to grow out of or continue to grow with. And that's what made it so appealing to me. The growth just continues, and we're talking years, like it's going to be a year's thing.
How much better is the two than the original Deus?
This is a quote from them. The Deus One, with the exception of the high frequency coil, to date, the entire Deus One lives within the Deus Two.
So all the technology from one was pushed into the second one and just expanded upon.
Not only the technology, but the programs. There's Deus Mono. You could do everything that a Deus One can do, with the exception of the high frequency coils with the Deus Two. So when you buy a Deus 2, you're buying a Deus 1.
Wow, I didn't really look at it like that or realize it.
Neither did I
That
until I spoke to them.
Yeah, golly, I just it just seems like I know there's a lot of people that we converse with in here that we all work a ton of hours, and this is our hobby, but we feel we enjoy being in here. It gives us some purpose outside of work and family, something else to do, because
Yeah.
somebody's brain goes a million miles an hour, and you end up doing stuff all night long. But being able to work for that company, that just seems like it seems like a real blessing. How is the rental house in Florida doing?
During the hurricane, not very good. It got hit hard with that. That's it's finally going really well because we got a new property manager, and I'm telling you, like we went through our learning curve with Airbnbs. That's the most important thing. Somebody who will go out and get business, and we got somebody really good right now.
Nice. Hey, it's nice that you don't have all your eggs in one basket for sure. I, definitely, I definitely wanted to say again, appreciate you taking the time to come in. I don't like to hit up too often for these kinds of things, but it just seems like everything with how your life goes with everything. It seems like you're always in a drastic change mode. It just seems like you keep. I mean, from one year to the next. I mean, I sit down and I looked at my list of things, and I was sitting there going, "Well, that's different. Well, that's changed. The website's being handled by Lou now." You just seem like you never slow down or stop.
You just got to be agile and go with what your interests are, because if you don't, you're going to bore people. And if you're talking about putting content out, you don't want to do that. And um it's okay to take breaks too. um you just got to keep it fresh and listen to yourself. I'm not putting pressure on myself right now to put out an immense amount of content. I was going to do a video. I've got a bunch of videos that are shot, and I'm like, now's not the time. Part of it is the time of year. This is the busiest time of year, like for being a teacher. And on top of that, I'm doing like I'm easing into the XP stuff, and they're incredibly patient. And you got to think like it's a marathon. This is what we love to do. And when it happens, it happens. It's that simple. I never get upset on the days that I don't get anything when I metal detect, because I'm metal detecting. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I have to talk myself down, but I can do that. And I can say to myself, you were out metal detecting. So just darn it, man, just chill out. You'll get it next time. You hear me in the videos; it's all honest. But I can rationalize. That's my point, and I'm rationalizing with myself now. And I'm perhaps a little bit more mature than when I started with this. I'm like, okay, you could slow down a little bit. That's okay. And there will be a time, inspiration goes like that, that yeah, I'm going to want to go fast, and that time is coming again. But I'm telling you, like this is a long-term pursuit. You won't hear of me retiring until I'm like dying. And God willing, that's a long time from now.
I like the idea of semi-retirement and then just doing what I love to do for the rest of the time. And it's coming. We're all getting closer to that. Uh, what's big? All the detecting you've done. What's big on the bucket list? What's your big main find that you're looking for that you haven't gotten yet?
Hold on 1 second. I just got distracted by a comment.
Which
So
one?
what do you call it? Practical Ken. Okay. So the person that you ran into, his name is Carlos, and he is kind of family. He is very close with my wife. Sorry to take this on a tangent. I
No.
just got
Okay.
this. So he ran into a close friend who is family. He's basically married to my wife's best friend's sister. We go on vacation with them all the time. So he sent me the video, and I just saw it a few minutes before. So it was cool. He was asking, he saw, I guess, Ken metal detecting, and I think he asked if he knew metal detecting NYC, and he just sent me the video. So that's so cool. It kind of went full circle in a day.
Full circle in a day. Yeah, Ken, we have a little private chat for 4 or 5 of us. And Ken was sending his pictures with his finds from the beach. So it looked like he had a good time. I like we're gonna spend some time in St. Croix this year. It'll be my first time going to the islands to dig. Can't wait to do some of that stuff, especially when you get to go with your friends too, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's
that's the
awesome.
best part. But I'm back to it. What's on the bucket list? What is it that you haven't found that you're still looking for?
Oh my God. The what is it, Drake bust? Um,
Drake bust,
it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy.
the
Yeah,
large
I see
cent,
them
or
posted on Facebook all the time. No, cap bust, that's what it is.
well, there's I mean there's
I got the
cat bust
penny.
halftime silver. Are you looking
Yeah,
for the
it could be
silver?
a half dime, it could be a dime. Yeah, it's
Any-
silver. I've got a ton of seated. You know, before seated, that's where my collection goes. I got a bunch of reals, but it's kind of like that missing link. You know, the early American stuff. I got a lot of the state coins, state coppers. Love
Nice.
finding those, but the early American silver. Oh,
There's a
before
lot of value in some of that early American silver, and I think that's where even out here further out west, I've got the 1/2 real that I found here, and then everything kind of goes after 1850, right? Except for the large cents, they still show up a little bit. I've got a few of those, but the old silver doesn't show up very often at all. So is that just a thing that we're not digging in the right spots, or what?
I don't know. I wish I could answer that, but it's eluded me. So yeah, the old silver. Um, yeah, that's always on the bucket list. When I get it, I will be thrilled. But it's part of the fun looking.
Oh yeah, if you found everything right away, it would be no fun at all.
That's right.
What's high on the relic list? What's something that's a relic that you're looking for?
I'm going to be going to a Arkansas event, and I mean, it has some Civil War action around there. I was hoping in North Carolina I'd find more Civil War stuff. Um, not so much, but I love American history, and anything that could be traced back. I know it's kind of a non-committal answer, but um, George Washington button. There we go. I'd love to have one of those.
For real. I've got a website bookmark that's got all the GW buttons on it, so that if I happen to find one, if I happen to come across one and I get it home, I can immediately reference the website so that I can look to see if I got one or not, because there's a broad variation of those buttons. The GW is high on the list. Um, what do you have anything from the Rev War?
Yeah, basketballs. I think a few buttons actually too. Um, Buttons are pretty darn cool. I enjoy the metal detecting button geek out. Um, Somebody once like interrupted a conversation, and I was talking to buttons about a friend, and they're like, "Are you talking about buttons?" And I'm like, "Listen, button technology. We are in the dark ages right now. Those plastic buttons that are keeping your shirt buttoned, like that is like dark ages stuff right there." We
Yeah,
understand that. He was like, "What the hell are you? What are you smoking, dude?"
that I like the old military buttons, and the good thing about old buttons is that they're pretty identifiable, as well as buckles. I was just sitting there trying to think, as far as your British coins go, do you how many 1700s coins do you have?
I'd say I have a good 10 to 20 right now, like King George. Um, Closer to 10. I don't know. I'd say 11, 12. Yeah.
Is there in your research, and how do you decide where you're going to dig these days? Do you sit down and come up with a plan, or do you have an endless amount of permissions, or what's a day look like with no when somebody says, "Hey, let's go dig. I don't got nothing to do." Where are you going?
I think beaches first. And I'm seeing so much construction around here, and I have beaten the heck out of parks. And I could go back, and what do I always find? Mercury dimes, they find me, they follow me. Mercury dimes follow me everywhere. And it's not that I hate them, I like them, but I found a lot of them. And okay, let's let others. That's cool. I've gotten my Mercury dime fix. I've gotten my Roosevelt dime fix. You could get so many of those in New York parks. Um, yeah, I kind of lean beach. I lean woods. I really like the woods, but it's about to be tick season,
Getting
so
real close.
yeah. This is kind of the lull season too, because the beaches are getting sandy and now the grass is getting taller. And like now until June, it's the quiet season.
Yeah, I was sitting there just trying to figure out a plan. We're getting ready to lose the woods and the farm fields we got for just a little while longer before they plant. And like you said, talking about the no-till farming, which really makes it kind of I really dread going into my farm fields after it's been corn season because I
I
hate
think you
fighting corn.
mispronounced it. You think you said no-till. I call it buzzkill farming. Yep.
It is buzzkill. I would love we've got a couple farmers around here that do till on occasion,
God
and
bless their souls.
and it's the only ones that I want to go to that I can't seem to get permission for, or somebody else they've let on there and won't let me. Uh, just so everybody knows, I'm probably going to wrap this up here in about 3 minutes. Here, we're going to stick to an hour today, as I have obligations after streaming tonight. Back to doing family stuff, taking my son to work. Uh, any other updates or any? I, I know that there's a lot of constraint on it. Is XP working on a new machine? Is that something that they're? I mean, I'm sure they're always in development, or are they
Always,
really? What's that?
always,
Yeah,
always in development.
they've always got
Um,
something. Go ahead.
Read about the founder. He's a passionate detectorist and fascinating person. That's somebody I really look up to, Alain Loubet. And trust me, there is always going to be something in development at XP. They're not going to just, sit on their hands and do nothing. They're going to innovate. Um, think of like the Deus 2 when it came out in 20 I'm sorry, Deus 1 when it came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Um, how different it was than everything on the market. Um, that's what they go for. They're not following in tracks, following in other people's tracks, other companies' tracks. They're innovating and they're doing it completely differently. And you'll know it when you swing a dais. I don't want to, you know, I know sales pitches are gross. I'm not trying to do that, but I believe this. I really do. And yeah, they're always in development.
I definitely. I have only swung it, for a couple hours at a time, but I did the underwater with the dais, and it was absolutely amazing. Is there any other spots on the globe, thinking worldwide, that you would like to go detect? That I mean, I know that World War II in Europe and all that sounds is great and stuff like that. Is there any other place that we wouldn't expect that you would like to go and swing that machine?
Gold, like
Go.
gold detecting. And I got invited to a few places, and I think that is, that's going to happen in the future. Like out west, where there's gold. I'm really excited to do that.
I love watching the Aussies, go out there and find gold in the outback. I think that's really interesting as
That's
well.
their idea of park metal detecting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, I'm gonna no, go ahead and knock this bad boy off. It is 10 o'clock tonight. Everybody, please take time to check out Metal Detecting NYC and look for updates for Deus if you're a Deus user. If you're not, obviously there's some discounts that can be had for the Deus 2. Everybody thinks it's a little high, but it seems to be one of the most well-made technological advanced machines that are out there. Um, Also, good night, J Zone. I want to thank everybody for being here again this week, and I want to thank Merrill for stopping in. And you guys, I will see you guys next week.